everybody, and welcome to the last episode of the SpongeBob SquarePants My Little Pony Friendship's Magic discussion, basically, on cartoon Chatterbox. I'm Yoda Yeah, pretty much. I'm Yoda Jats 10. I write stories and do voices on here, online. The rest of you guys, take it away.
I am Irish Husky. I am the founder of this podcast. And quite frankly, I'm kind of ready to be done with these shows. There's an entire wide world of animation and cartoons out there, and there's so much to explore. Can't wait to do that. Kind of ready to put the nail in this one.
Right. I'm Wesley. I just got back from South by Southwest, where sadly all of the animated films were taken, but I'm kind of with you. Can't wait for the day the Earth blew up.
Yes, and I am Carrick Namnit, a.k.a. Raccoon Bro VA. Go watch The Day the Earth Blew Up. We need to support Ketchup Entertainment. But until then, I am very, very excited about this one because I don't think it really hit me until I started, going through them all. But the SpongeBob, movies mean a lot more to me than I realized, to the point where after the Flying Dutchman film comes out later this year in December, I think I might start my own little ranking video on my own time of talking about all of the SpongeBob films, and I think it would be a very fun discussion, and I have a lot to say about them, and you guys will see that in this discussion alone.
Right. But speaking of movies, before we get started, I kind of want to go back to last week's episode. Congratulations to Gino Zivalotis, winner of Flow. This is his winner for Best Animated Feature for Flow. This is his first win and the first win in any category for the nation of Latvia.
Yay! I know last time I said that The Wild Robot was my favorite, but I think Flo winning is one of the coolest wins in animation history in a while.
True underdog story. Budget of $6 million, no credited voice actors, mostly the work of one person.
Made in Blender. A Blender film won Best Animated Picture. That is insane.
Yeah, Blender is going to be using that as credibility for a long time.
Hell yeah. Honestly, deserves it.
So congratulations, Latvia. Ball's in your court, Lithuania.
And this is the longest stretch a Disney production has gone without winning.
Exactly. And I also want to give a shout out to Andrew Garfield's speech before announcing the winner. Unlike previous years, it actually sounded like they're giving animation the respect that it deserves.
They've come a long way since the really cringy one where they were talking about how the animated films are a time to put for us to sleep to give our kids something to do or whatever.
Right, Guillermo del Toro talks some sense into them.
Hooray!
Animation.
For progress.
I love that he started his speech, by the way, with animation is cinema, just so he could make sure to get that message out immediately and not risk being played off.
Yeah.
And he could have pulled an Adrian Brody and just gone on anyway.
Right. Oh my god, that was so annoying, by the way. It did not need to be that long of a speech.
Yeah. Right. I'm glad he won, but I was kind of glad to see him go.
If I were to add something to that Oscar speech, I'm glad Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson tried to say that animation should be respected. Emily Blunt was trying to say it's not a big deal or something like that. But I do give credit for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for trying to stand up for that too. I think he did a good job for that.
Yeah.
What could Emily Blunt possibly have against animated films?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's time to talk about the My Little Pony and SpongeBob movies.
All right.
We'll get back to you, Emily Blunt, but first we start off with the OG, the generational classic, the SpongeBob movie from 2004.
2004. Bush was in office, the Red Sox hadn't won a World Series in almost a century, and SpongeBob was at the height of its popularity. So naturally, the movie was inevitable.
On top of the world, which is ironic for somebody who lives under the sea. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil my thoughts a little bit, for this whole discussion, guys. We're starting with the best. It doesn't get better than this. This is the actual peak of, any TV movie, any movie based on a TV show. The SpongeBob movie still holds up tremendously.
Yeah, it's partially because a lot of the same crew worked on it. It had pretty much the exact same voice cast, and the animation did a very decent boost. It looks very cinematic.
Yeah, you see, what I love most about the way they did the animation change up is that it doesn't feel like too jarring from the show. Like, it still feels like it could be in universe. It's just like slightly polished, and it gives them a chance to be to get more experimental with the facial expressions. Like some of the most iconic facial expressions come from the movie, like when SpongeBob and Patrick are like staring off into the abyss, like after their car just got eaten by that giant eel. Like you see that on T-shirts all the time.
Yeah, like I think it's worth noting about the SpongeBob movie is to talk about like the fact that Steven Hillenburg, like bless his soul, he didn't think that SpongeBob would be suitable for the big screen, but when Nickelodeon, the guys pretty much told him to make one, he decided to draw influence from films that he watched with his kids, like Toy Story and The Iron Giant, which I'm like, yes. Like, just knowing that just makes me love the movie even more than I already did, because those films are already up there with my favorite movies, and so is this.
You picked the right ones, I must say. Although it kind of seems weird, someone pointed out that Plankton should technically be on Plan U at the time of the movie.
Oh yeah, if we're going like after the actual episode count, that's funny.
Yeah.
Plan U for uranium bombs.
Yes. It almost makes me wonder if he just like has an entire set of like evil plans that he like either he wrote them in bulk one day and just like forgot about them, or if like he literally just has some plans lying around that like he bought off of eBay or whatever, or CBay or whatever.
Yeah. I wonder if there's an equivalent of the lead. I think there is an equivalent to the Legion of Doom in SpongeBob. Shows up later episodes.
Yeah, every villain is Lemons, otherwise known as evil.
Whoa, classic.
So maybe they gave it to. But yes, Plankton. It actually is the most sensible plan. Where you get and frame Mr. Krabs. I stole your crowd sign, Eugene Krabs.
I love just how silly that is, but because like the king is just like so tunnel visioned, it like works out. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the new characters. Like that's something that a lot of TV films like tend to have trouble with, like making the new characters work and like having trouble balancing them with the old ones. King Neptune, he's a very, very funny, just like completely like one-track minded guy. But it's like it bounces off really nicely with Mindy, who is trying her best to like help them out, and the stalling scene is like a really good.
Right. I feel like Mindy's meant to be a parody of Ariel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's. I didn't like know for the longest time that she was voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Like it's one of those celebrity performances that
she's underrated as the voice actress. She did this. She did another movie called Her. I think she's done a few other animated projects.
I'm pushing for her to voice Rouge the Bat in the Sonic movies.
That would be cool.
Yeah, for like Scarlett Johansson went on to do this because she was a big fan of weird cartoons like Ren and Stimpy. She even voiced her again in the video game, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and say what you will about Jeffrey Tambor, he's like, you know, but like you can't deny that his performance here is pretty damn iconic. Like those freaking screams after like finding out it got sent to Shell City, and you just hear it over the phone as Plankton has that incredible grin that is like the plan is working perfectly.
Plan Z, I love Plan Z.
Speaking of, is the Cyclops just the narrator?
Well, he does have a similar get-up that is. But I have to assume that's not what they were going for.
Yeah, but like, let me just say, the narrator is not just called the narrator; he's called Frenchie. They made it clear.
Right.
This film actually uses Frenchie the best. Like in other SpongeBob movies, they try to get other narrators to do the job for him, and it's like it's not the same. Like you don't step on the OG's toes.
You know, did you ever see the game Lights, Camera, Pants? They did a funny joke where Frenchie is being joined and kind of interrupted by the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy narrator, played by Mr. Lawrence. I'm like, I think that was a pretty funny scene there, personally.
Right. Oh, I could see that being a good, because I know the voice you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm pretty glad they stuck with the original cast. It could have been so easy to redub, and as we see later, some shows that made the transition did replace, but no, they stuck to their guns with this one.
Yeah, I remember I went to a convention that Bill Farmer was at. He's the voice of Goofy, for those who don't know. And he was talking about how for the Goofy movie, they were considering for a while getting a celebrity to voice Goofy for it, Steve Martin in particular. But it just wasn't the same. And they even asked Bill himself to just use his normal speaking voice for a little bit with Goofy. But so he recorded that film 4 different times until they were like, okay, just make him sound like Goofy. But which just goes to show, with iconic characters like these, they are their voices. And this is probably one of my favorite just outings from Tom Kenny and Bill Fagerbach in general. They sound amazing together. I am so happy with how it turned out.
Right, and can we just talk about the soundtrack for a second? Not just the songs in the movie, but the printed soundtrack. You have songs from Flaming Lips, Wilco, Prince Paul, and Motorhead, and the ever classic Ocean Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what we call childhood defining, right there.
If you had the actual CD, it was pretty cool. It starts off with a cover of the theme song by Avril Lavigne. She was hot then.
That also, just the actual score itself, it's just so epic. When they're like, let's go get that crown, then the orchestra comes in. I'm so hyped up. It's such a hype scene.
Yeah, in my opinion, the idea. The hint that you're getting a really great comedy is when the orchestra still sounds epic over silly scenes. That is the best thing.
Right. Like the paddy wagon.
If that kind of reminds you a little bit of Invader Zim, that's also mostly a dark comedy, but there's a lot of dark and suspenseful music that plays even when something silly's going on. I always love that.
Yeah,
that is very, very important to getting the fact that they're taking themselves so seriously. So it's you could still laugh at it, but at the same time you can still be entranced in the actual story itself. This film takes itself very seriously, but at the same time still has incredible jokes, and that's why I think it has the sauce. Compared to the other films that we're going to talk about later on, it has the freaking sauce, man, where I just yes, I could see anybody enjoying this, even if you're not a SpongeBob fan.
Right. It's pretty cool that it's also not just an extended episode. They actually do up the stakes and make it special to have them go on land and interact with it. And the blending with the live action's pretty neat, too.
Very seamless.
And with the wonderful, the great, the timeless David Hasselhoff.
Hey, everybody. That is one of those jokes where it's even if you don't get the reference, because let's face it, no kid knows what the hell Baywatch was at the time.
My dad had to tell me.
But it's just so out of left field and so absurd that you just accept it. It fits the vibe of the rest of the film. So it's David Hasselhoff. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, someone once told me SpongeBob peaked when David Hasselhoff shot SpongeBob out of his pecs. They were never going to top that.
Oh, God.
Patrick, do you see that? The control. So I think personally. One of the main critiques I hear about this movie is that it doesn't utilize the cast well enough. Only SpongeBob and Patrick go on the quest. Everybody else is sort of off to the sideline. What I'm about to say is probably going to sound very harsh, but it is true, and I'll bring it up a little bit later when the time is appropriate because it's a problem I have with something else coming up. The rest of the cast did not need to be there. This was SpongeBob and Patrick's movie. It was focused on them, and they kept it succinct. And because of that, it was so much easier to get behind the plot. But if they had included everybody else, it would have felt way too cluttered. It would have felt like they were just shoehorned in. They did not need to be there.
There is
I can see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, there is Sandy on land, and it doesn't really jive with the rest.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that scene, and I was like, yeah, I'm very glad they deleted this. This would not have fit.
Right, instead, she and Mrs. Puff are relegated to a single line each, which is a funny line. We paid $9 for this?
Well, I paid 10.
Yeah, and then they got their, and she got her yeehaw after getting freed. Yeah. I did like that joke a lot, and the fact that it was able to focus on like SpongeBob and like have Patrick be there to be his like support system. They were able to actually like develop a character arc and have a central theme that the entire film is like centered around the theme of you are who you are, and that's okay because you can still find a way to help and save the day in your own special way. And it is like every point of the journey is like meant to hammer that point home, how they're like they're trying to be serious and save the day, but things are like constantly distracting them and making like their goofy goober side come out. And they eventually learned to channel that, and that's how they won. And I'm very it sounds like the bare minimum, but as we'll see later, the fact that it has a theme and like commits to it goes a long way.
Yep, I agree with you. And also it teaches us that SpongeBob is an adult, also a very childish adult, but he still understands adult responsibilities and when he needs to be a little bit more adult.
He's been working at the Krusty Krab for 31 years at this point.
Yeah, remember that when SpongeBob was allowed to have more than one brain cell?
Yeah, well, considering Sponges can't live for over 400 years, he's got time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
Hey, that reminds me. For the longest time, I've seen some people, not a lot, but some, say that Plankton was out of character, saying that he would never try to take over the world.
I have seen that criticism too. I know what you're talking about.
Not time in the show. In the Steelbook episode, he says he wants to harness their energy to take over the world.
Yes, as far back as FUN, he envisioned world domination and making people suffer to their knees. And even in Sleepy Time, his fantasy wasn't getting the Krabby Patty formula; it was causing world destruction.
Yeah,
and I was like, this honestly isn't too out of left field for Plankton.
And then listen to the fun song, F is for fire that burns down the whole town.
See, the thing is he's using the formula as a byway so he can take over the world, which is pretty funny. It was all
a ruse, a smokescreen, if you will.
Honestly, if I had that problem somewhere else, it was probably Vicky from Channel Chasers, which I'm sorry, she's not a character I take that seriously as a villain. Even though I love Grey Delisle, she's just a character I can't really get behind. Unlike with Plankton, though, it fits, and it doesn't feel too out of character because he still retains his funny self.
Honestly,
the idea is he's smart enough, he's capable enough, but he's just too small. That's what makes it funny, is that he's so tiny.
Yeah. And sometimes a little bit tunnel visioned, but because he had the right plan to go off of this time, that's the best way I can describe Plankton in this one. This is what would happen if Plankton locked in. Plankton freaking locked in for this movie, and it is such a good villain performance from him. Honestly, part of me almost wishes that this was a musical because if he had gotten a villain song with this soundtrack behind him, it would have been actual peak.
I was about to say it kind of is, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. But the songs we do get, though, are iconic, though. We'll get to that.
Goofy Goober Rock, Now That We're Mad, which I was shocked to hear was an actual song.
Yeah.
And the sea shanty version of the SpongeBob theme, also.
That was a great opening.
Yes! Oh my god, the opening is so cool, because I'm just imagining, what if you showed this film to somebody who had no idea what it was? They didn't know about the pirate opening. They're like, oh wow, what is this, pirate thing? And then when they say, tickets to the SpongeBob movie! And I just imagine, turning, to the person, seeing their reaction, where they're like, what am I watching?
Yes!
Yes. That's what you're watching.
Right?
That is what you... That is a good fake out. That's what I'm going to say about that.
It does have the introduction of the Best Day Ever song. I know because when I watched it in theater, I stayed through the credits.
Yeah. Gosh, what people say, Ocean Man gets to them, but when I was listening to the end credits the whole way because I wanted to stick around for the end credit scene, which is very funny. But when I heard SpongeBob singing Best Day Ever, that's what got my heart to go aflutter.
Right.
Oh god,
Yeah,
it's so nostalgic.
That's why they put in the musical, because it's one of
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they made better use for it in the musical rather than the episode they made about it in the show. Personally,
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
I was about to say, I love this song. I just wish the actual episode that was made about it was good.
I've also really come to like that Flaming Lips song too.
Yeah.
Ew.
The guy singing it actually kind of sounds like dehydrated SpongeBob if you listen closely.
Wayne Coyne, yeah.
Speaking of dehydrated SpongeBob, can we all agree that the scene on Under the Desk Lamp was the most heartbreaking thing ever?
Yeah.
yes.
I told Jackson this a little bit in DMs. This was something that I had a lot to say about. I would like to give very quickly my personal connection to the SpongeBob film. When I first saw it, I was about 6 years old. It had been out for a little bit, and I was already a massive SpongeBob fan by that point. I didn't know that there was a movie though. I never got to see it in theaters. My local gym has a kid play area where you drop your kids off. And I went there for summer to hang out with the kids there, and they had a playground. It was very fun. They were playing the SpongeBob movie on the TV in there. I was like, wait, there's a SpongeBob movie? I love SpongeBob! Then it got to that scene under the desk lamp. That scene was my first real experience with the concept of loss and death. SpongeBob helped me come to terms with a very, very serious topic like that, and seeing my favorite characters in such a state was it really did have a profound effect on me. It's not just them dying out, but the moment SpongeBob started singing "I'm a Goofy Goober," he wanted to use his last breath, his final moments, to be himself. And when Patrick joined along, it was them being content with the fact that they did it. They fucking got there, and all they decided to do in their final moments was just to be their goofy goober selves. And if it wasn't for them cutting to the pirates crying in the movie theater, I probably would have lost it, because I that was pretty necessary for keeping the tone a little bit lighthearted.
Once you have something that serious, you gotta tell a joke, and I mean, they're not gonna really kill off SpongeBob.
Yeah, but when the pirate was like, "Aye, it be the tear of the Goofy Goober," and I'm on the edge of my seat, and the tear causes the shorting out, and the water goes off, and SpongeBob says, "Hey, we're alive!" And when the theater cheers, and everybody's cheering, not just the pirates, everybody in the audience, I was cheering alongside them. Ah, God, that was such a victory moment, right there.
Yeah, in a more serious movie, it might be considered a cop-out, but again, they're not gonna really kill off SpongeBob in his own movie.
In my opinion, I think you can do cop-outs as long as you earn it. If you, really commit to it. And, dude, the combination of the music, just, how dried out and defeated they look and sound. When I rewatched this film, I was sobbing. I was actually, rewatched this film later this week. That film got me to sob like a baby. I was right back there in the moment when I first saw it for the first time as a kid. And it made me realize how important this film is to me. I underestimated how much I truly love this film. And that is probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire SpongeBob franchise. Just animated films in general, that's how much it means to me.
Yes,
I'll let you guys go off for a little bit. I took up a lot of time there.
The common misconception the show was canceled after the movie. That's not true. They just didn't anticipate a renewal.
Yeah,
right. Carrot, that was beautiful. That was
thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That was very good. But they just didn't anticipate how big it was. I think this is the most successful movie based on a cartoon.
Well earned.
If I could add something about the pirates, I heard they were originally going to have Patchy the pirate in, but Steven Hillenburg, I think, they and some other people said, no, we gotta like make this like feature length, so we gotta like get like a natural pirate crew, like some have Pirates of the Caribbean, like.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they did that. As much as I think Patchy can be pretty funny at times, I'm glad they stuck with this because like it was just so freaking.
Right, they had to,
Patchy wouldn't have fit the vibe.
Right, and they had to also warm it up to newcomers. Don't put in too many inside jokes. Keep it self-contained.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, after this movie, it seems like the cartoon spin-off died out. In 1998, the Rugrats movie was the first non-Disney animated movie to make $100 million in the U.S.
Whoa.
And after that, every show got a spin-off. But I think SpongeBob ended up being the last and I think the biggest of this trend.
How about that?
Yeah.
I guess if anybody wants to do it, it would be that yellow sponge. I consider him up there with like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in terms of like iconic status at this point.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Same here. Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, if the show did have to end here, I think this was like a perfect note to go out on.
No kidding. Like
But
that
of course-
climax. Like so, again with the climax, it would be so easy to say it's like a cop out. Like when the heck did SpongeBob ever have these powers? That's insane.
Who cares?
Because it's SpongeBob and it's hype. Ruler Cool wins out, and because the world itself is so absurd to begin with, you just accept it. If they had taken themselves, like I said, this film takes itself seriously, but it doesn't take itself too seriously to the point where you could still like accept absurd stuff like that to happen. And plus, it's just so cool, man. It sounds awesome. And the freaking like effect, the LSD effect or whatever on like his realistic hands as he's shredding on the guitar, and then the reveal afterwards that he was like on ropes the entire time and it was like just a light show. It's like, what the hell? Why is this so awesome and funny at the same time?
But Patrick in those big shoes? No,
Yes!
that was real. That was real.
He just grew stiletto sides. Oh god.
He just goes over to pull him down, going, "I'm on it."
Oh gosh. And yeah, and I totally bought like Mr. Krabs' like for like apology to SpongeBob too. Like this he's not like SpongeBob like changed, but like he also like proved himself to the town that like he can, when the going gets tough, like he and Patrick can get the crown, save the town, and Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. Right. So I think first movie's good. We're gonna take a break before we hit the second because of the chronological order.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say, if I did have one, this is a nitpick, just one tiny little nitpick. As cool as Dennis is, like he is a very cool like ticking time bomb like way to add to the tension. The final fight with him on top of Hasselhoff is admittedly a bit of a cop out. Like SpongeBob and Patrick just like didn't really do anything. They just like didn't get hit by the boat. It was funny, but like I will admit, yeah, you get that was a bit of a stretch. Like, was it that necessary to have him?
Right.
We'll say this though: anytime I think of Alec Baldwin, the first thing I think of is his first line is Dennis, which is "Sesame Seed."
Yeah.
Anytime
Oh,
I
that
think
was
of
good.
Alec Baldwin, thank you. Anytime I think of Alec Baldwin, that's the first thing that comes to my head. Always.
I always think of this is a real mustache.
Is he a mermaid?
God, yeah. If we just like said all of our favorite quotes from the film, like we could just be here all
I
day.
could quote the whole movie from memory. I am not kidding.
Nice.
I've never even eaten that goofy goobers. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna take a break to stick with the chronology. The second SpongeBob movie's in 2015.
Yeah.
But in 2013, we had something different. We had My Little Pony, but My Little Pony was also trying to compete with Monster High at this time because Hasbro wanted to show it. So they decided to do a human-focused adaptation, one of the strangest film decisions ever.
Let me just set the stage for you. This was in 2013. Season 3 had just ended. The fandom was at its peak membership, but it was also at some of the most divided it's been after Alicorn Twilight. And then this movie gets announced where they get turned into humans? Naturally, everyone was really excited for this, looking forward to this new creative direction. Actually, no, everyone thought it was going to be a disaster.
Yeah, like
I wasn't there at the time, but I can only imagine the vitriol.
Oh, I was there. And I remember the reception when it first came out. There were some people who were like, yeah, that was better than I thought. And others were like, what the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
Again, the main theory, the one idea I had for this is it was meant to compete with Monster High.
That makes the most
Yeah.
sense.
Maybe a little bit of Bratz.
Like it's like saying like this sounds like a complete fan fiction. What's next? A SpongeBob crossover? Tuh.
As if.
Imagine that.
Well, okay. All I can say at the very least is that I'm glad that the same team like got to work on this. It's basic. You can basically see it as just like another like longer episode of My Little Pony. It just they just happen to be humans this time.
Yeah,
like just minor little detail. That's all.
I had to wait for the hub release of this one because it was playing an hour away and there was no public transport access at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't see this when it came out because, one, I was a self-conscious 17-year-old, and two, I was out of the country. So, didn't really have the chance.
I was new to the show when this came out. Like, I just like started getting into the show by the time this reached theaters.
Yeah,
So, like-
I had boycotted it for a while because I was like, what? Humans? Absurd!
Yeah. And they named it after a parody of a Katy Perry song. Like, how did they think this was going to go down?
It's not used in the entire franchise, so which I always found this weird.
A weirdly hype. I want to say pop version of the theme song. Honestly, didn't sound too bad. Like for the opening credits.
Right.
It's like
More than I could say for most of the other songs, honestly.
Yeah. The soundtrack is a little forgettable, admittedly.
Like, there's one song that'll never leave your head. Everything else, you can just kind of,
The cafeteria song, right?
Right.
Now the flash mob. One of my friends wanted to orchestrate that, but apparently couldn't get the teams together.
Oh, well.
That's
Like,
good.
well, to be fair, I wasn't really a big fan of the show's music to begin with.
Ooh, shit.
Fair enough.
No, for me, it's not really the music; it's more the lyrics that I have a problem with. The music's all right.
Yeah, it's got a good score. I have a similar opinion when it comes to Steven Universe. The songs are a little mixed for me, but I love like the chiptune, just like background music consistently.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I feel about My Little Pony sometimes.
Right. But anyway, the human designs were kind of weird. Also, they were they were these stick figures.
Yeah, it's one of those things where once you get used to it, it's like fine. It just is a little jarring at first, but like once you watch the film for like 20, 30 minutes, you kind of accept it. And I've had to learn to accept it, especially like if I was gonna watch the rest of the Equestria Girls like stuff, which I have.
Right, and again, also the conflict of this is kind of weird. We've had Twilight save Equestria on multiple occasions at this point, but now she's just competing for prom queen.
It's yeah, I think they did their best, like trying to justify it. Like, oh, I gotta do this covertly, but like, I don't know. I feel like you probably could have just stolen the crown at any point, and
just get the crown, save the town, and Equestria.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, this has the same motivation as the SpongeBob movie. Holy crap!
Right.
Yeah, like I still remember when Spike asked why didn't she just ask for the crown? He said, "Well, what if I told her that I'm a pony princess?" I'm just like, here's an idea. Don't tell her that.
Steal it.
What? And ruin the plot?
And then Pinkie Pie still figured it out on her own.
Yeah, just a hunch. Yeah, Pinkie continues to be the best part.
That was probably my favorite joke of the whole thing.
And then Pinkie and the Pony World did the same thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
but also the characterizations are pretty good. They're pretty matched. So I'm probably gonna say Rainbow Dash fans will be sadly disappointed. She doesn't even show up until halfway through, and her only purpose is to be the 6th member.
Yeah.
But what do you say we talk about something in a Flash? What do you guys think of Flash?
Look,
Man, this character sure does exist, doesn't he?
He doesn't. I don't think he gets a line after this.
I have seen some like absolutely foul stuff on the internet. I'm not joking when I tell you, anytime Flash was on screen and he was like, quote unquote, flirting with Twilight, I could not look at the screen. I was cringing into my turtleneck so hard. I like the thing where, you know, you have your hands over your eyes and you're just like, ugh, it can stop. That is by far my least favorite like kind of romance in media. It's just like I'm so like enamored with you. I can barely say anything, and goodbye, and like we'll bump into each other next. We'll bump into each other next time.
That kind of stuttering only works if the character already has a stutter. Hint, hint. Day the Earth blew up. Hint, hint.
Yeah. We can only ever seem to like see each other like by bumping into each other. That's our only like form of chemistry is that we bump into each other.
Yeah. Also, something funny. Another plot hole I noticed. See, everyone in Equestria has an Equestria High counterpart. If Sunset Shimmer came into the world from Equestria, what happened to her counterpart?
Yeah, they never really address that, do they?
They can't murder her double?
Which is funny because they actually did address it with Twilight in a throwaway line with Pinky, but not with Sunset.
Right.
Again, she might have murdered her double.
Oh God.
Going back to Flash for a bit, the only thing I have to say about the backlash is how can you possibly hate a character that boring? Like, how can you muster up that much vitriol for someone who's essentially just a non-entity? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, if you think he's boring, fine, but the way I've seen people talk about him online is borderline sociopathic almost.
I do like the way he's portrayed in any of the anthology videos, where it's just like he just exists. Like, one of my favorite ones was A Day in the Life of Flash Sentry, and he's just a floating head going through a white background, and all this like death and destruction is going on around him, and he's just going, oh
my gosh.
It's just like, I'm here to exist. Well, okay, I think when it comes to new characters, there's someone a bit more significant to discuss.
Right, Sunset Shimmer, who basically becomes the protagonist of the next two movies.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this right now. Seeing her like be the villain in this film was very, very jarring. Like, as somebody who's seen all Equestria Girls media at this point, because it is so far removed from how she normally is, and I always forget that she was like this much of a mean girl when the show started.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but anyway, but also it feels like they just needed a villain, so they made her up.
I think Sunset Shimmer became a better character when she became reformed, honestly.
We'll talk more about that later, but yeah, as a villain, she's just kind of
really the opposite of Starlight Glimmer.
Pretty much. Like, Starlight was a fantastic villain, and then her hero journey is a lot more muddled compared to Sunset.
Sunset Shimmer was a poor villain, but her redemption was well handled, and she became a great hero.
Right. She was I think she's the most recent villain to be reformed with the rainbow lasers of friendship. Who would have thought that we would be reminiscing of those days? Who would have thought that would be the preferable option to what we would eventually get?
I miss the Care Bear stare.
Yeah.
Here is I think my thoughts on Sunset's performance, like just like how competent she is as a villain, can be summarized by one line of dialogue from the film, where she essentially says something to the effect of, "With my teenage army, I'm going to take over Equestria." And at that point, I was like,
yeah, okay. I thought that was funny too. I'm like, you think you're gonna do that? It didn't work for so many other villains. It's not gonna work for you.
I'm just like, you know what's waiting for you on the other side of Equestria. Celestia, like all three princesses are there. Guards, Discord probably.
Yeah, Discord's reformed at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, if you step in that portal and Discord's there, you lose. Right. You instantly lose.
Like, even if the elements of harmony aren't working, all that mare power, so to speak, that should be enough to subdue an army of unqualified, untrained teenagers.
And they would be
who are hypnotized
on the other side. So
Right.
yeah, it's a little ridiculous when you like stop to think about this thing made for little girls a bit too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when Sunshine Simmer was planning to break the mirror with a sledgehammer, I'm just like, go ahead. The sledgehammer's probably gonna go through the mirror. So
yeah, that's right. that would have been a funny gag. When it comes to my positives for this film, Spike is the GOAT. Like he is unequivocally this is one of his best performances. Like he is constantly there to keep Twilight grounded, and he has like really funny lines like surrounding him like being a dog and like freaking people out. Mm-hmm. Like, oh my gosh, that dog talked. Like after everything that happened, that's what you're most surprised by.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Like Spike is my favorite character on the show, and this movie did him justice.
Oh yeah. I weirdly find like dog Spike like very charming consistently, like even when it's not Spike from Equestria. I also think normal dog Spike is very fun too.
Yeah, like it kind of inspired me to write a dad in animation natures where like no matter what strange stuff is going on, the talking dog is always going to be the weirdest part.
Yeah.
Like
like I think Powerpuff Girls did a similar joke where they had the talking dog do that, and blocking traffic.
Like in a later episode, though, when the talking dog gets his own episode, he's a huge asshole.
Yeah, and he shows why he only gets one line.
You only get one. So I think that's most of what I have to say about it. Sunset would go on to do cooler things, and
this movie introduced Sunset. That's its highlight.
Yeah.
Pretty much. What we have to move on to, in my opinion, is the pinnacle of the Equestria Girls franchise.
Yep, the best.
No doubt about it.
I think probably the only MLP movie worth rewatching, which I have many times.
I will say this also, because I know Equestria Girls gets a bad rap. I like Equestria Girls, because it's just basically more My Little Pony content at the end of the day. Even though they are humans, it's still being made by the same people. I like most of the later specials that come out, but that being said, I still agree with the common consensus. This is the best one.
This had no right to be as good as it was, honestly.
Yeah, they even have the instruments animated more or less like they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and also like shout out to the marketing team, like having a short dedicated to each character getting their instrument and like establishing the pony powers.
They use their magic, they do feats and use their instrumental techniques in ways that are physically impossible, but otherwise, when they're not doing that, they're pretty spot on.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we call brownie points in the world of animation.
One of my favorite bits from the anthology series is Pinkie Pie's short where she's playing on the drums, and it cuts to Fletcher from Whiplash just going, "Don't slow down, pick it up,"
and she just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
I like the one where they're singing the cafeteria song, and they're like, "And I'm just like you, and you're just like," and Applejack. Nobody's looking at Applejack, and her face like is the lonely meme, like slowly coming into frame.
Yeah, but also this one kind of establishes there are some differences between the Equestria Girls from their pony counterparts. You have Rainbow Dash taking on the leadership role in the absence of Twilight. You have Rarity being a little bit more in control also, and Applejack's sort of more the moral center.
Yeah, I do appreciate. Yeah, it's hard to it's very easy to forget that these are in fact different characters from their pony counterparts. So the little details like that are certainly appreciated. They felt a lot more like teenagers in this one.
Yeah.
Mostly because the way they handled like the infighting and all that. I thought the way that it started off like kind of subtle at first, where you just like Fluttershy wanted to play her song. Everyone's getting a little annoyed by Rarity like trying to get costumes out, but like it's just like normal conflict, like whatever. They're teenagers, but like I like how they like are building it up that it's like eventually getting to a boiling point where it's being used to power up the Dazzlings, and it's a very good lesson that if there's a problem in your friend group and you don't nip it in the bud right away, it will eventually get to a boiling point, which is like what we saw at when they were underneath the stage. That's a very important thing to remember.
They actually have themes, ideas they tried this time.
Wow, it felt like they were building up to something and we're having a point.
Right, and also the soundtrack's pretty good. Even the cut songs are pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. No, this soundtrack slaps actually. Like, which is important for a musical competition, like movie.
Right.
I even like Tricks Up My Sleeve. It's terrible, but that's what makes it great.
Yeah,
I like that song actually because I think Trixie has a very good singing voice.
Right? Yeah. The lyrics are kind of dumb, but that's the whole point. It's that on purpose.
Yeah.
And oh my god, the Dazzlings! Oh my god, every time they had a song, like they actually did steal the show.
Right. Way back,
they are so good in this.
Way back in the day, I actually did a top 10 list of my favorite songs across the entire series, and I put 3 songs from this movie on that list.
Including at number 1, I think.
Yeah. I had Battle of the Bands at number 1, Under Our Spell at number 3, and I think it was Awesome As I Wanna Be in the lower half.
Yes, those are such good choices.
Right. And remember, for Awesome As I Wanna Be, listen to the soundtrack version. It has the second verse.
Yeah, I'm glad that Awesome As I Wanna Be is as good as it is, because I don't know if this is an agreed upon sentiment. Rainbow Dash has my favorite singing voice of the main 6.
Well, she is voiced by a professional singer, so.
But she adds this like raspy quality to it that I've listened to Ashley Ball's music outside of the show, and she uses her normal voice obviously, but like I kind of wish she would use the Rainbow Dash voice more often because it's got this like smoky quality to it that makes it feel like almost like I'm listening to a punk song, and I really like that sort of like just vocal quality in most female performers. It's very fun to listen to, and she actually was like doing a really good job showing off and like stealing the spotlight, which I think added to it being a very tense moment that she was about to like blow their shot too early with the pony power thing.
Right? Did Rainbow Dash ruin the word awesome for anyone else?
A little bit.
This came out the same year as another movie that had the word awesome as its driving selling point.
Well, for me, awesome was ruined by Owen from Total Drama.
Oh, yeah.
What was the other movie?
The Lego
movie.
Oh yeah, that's right, 2014.
Yeah, it's also one of 3 movies to reference Taco Tuesday in 2014. This is the Lego movie of the Book of Life.
Oh my god, the Book of Life. That is such a weird movie.
Yeah, Sonata said it was Taco Tuesday, and according to the fandom, that's her entire character now.
Yeah,
boy, don't
it's
you
funny
just
how
love
nobody cares about Aria Blaze. Adagio gets a lot of attention because she's the leader, and Sonata's known as the ditz, but Aria's just dead weight.
Right.
You know, like, I agree. Like, the Dazzlings, like, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the villains on the show, but the Dazzlings do come close. They really do have a lot of personality outside of just being evil. Like, and I do really like that.
I think part of it is...
Also, they're genuinely threatening, too.
Right?
Yeah, I was about to say that they're weirdly competent for My Little Pony villains, which is very jarring.
They're rare. They're also I think the only Equestria Girls reference in the main show. In the season 7 finale, they show how they were vanquished.
Oh yeah, that episode.
I enjoy the banter between Sonata and Aria, and I really love Adagio's voice in particular. Like Kazumi Evans is like an actual opera singer, so it was a stroke of genius, like having her be the leader of the Siren group. Very, very cracked casting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that scene, especially where they were like playing into Sunset's insecurities, I enjoy a villain that like makes the hero doubt themselves because of their past mistakes, that kind of thing.
Although I will say, for all the positives, like, I do agree with the stuff on the Dazzlings and Sunset and stuff like that, but is it bad to say I think this film's kind of overrated?
Do tell.
I don't know, like, I previously said that the music of the show, and especially the first recitals, didn't do it for me. There's only a couple songs I do like. I like Under Our Spell. I think that was, like, a good song. I don't know, like, for the most part, the film can get a little bit repetitive, and, like, with what you guys said about Trixie, I'm sorry, I can't get behind. It's one of those times where I'm like, yeah, Trixie, that's the voice I want put to music. But I don't think the film is bad. I think it's just fine. And like the stuff it does good, like the dazzlings and sunsets, they are really good. They are definitely the stronger points of the film.
I think we should talk about Sunset a little bit. I think this is the reason that her redemption works so well is because she legitimately does like need to like earn her redemption, and like she actually does have to prove herself to everyone. Like there's a lot of tension around the school when it first starts out, and like the only people that are giving her a chance are like the
ones that reformed her in the first place.
The Human Six, and they mostly did that because it was a promise to Twilight that they would look after her.
Right. Like she has to earn her redemption. She might be the good guy, but everyone is still naturally skeptical and wary about her.
And which is why that scene where the Dazzlings are like, oh, that sure is nice that they're inviting you to like their sessions, but like they never even thought to ask you to be in the band itself. Like you never will be one of them truly. And like, yeah, no, just like she's like too scared to like speak up about like the infighting that she sees going on because she doesn't think she's in any place to like point it out or anything until like but when she finally does, like towards the end, like it feels very justified, and like seeing her like finally join in like for the final performance and like help them win the day, it felt quite earned, and I was happy for her.
Yeah, no, I will say for the lyrics there, our music is a bomb and it's about to blow. I always chuckle at that because that's not usually a good thing.
Yeah, our music blows. Check out our music. It blows more than anything.
It's a bomb.
Was that Dr. Stan kind of line?
When he was trying to sell his vacuum, it sucks more than anything.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
I was trying to do a subtle reference this time.
I think a scene that gets a little bit overlooked is the kitchen scene at night during the sleepover at Pinky's. It's just Twilight and Sunset talking about their insecurities, seeing that they have, kind of a common bond between them and what they're going through, and they're kind of kindred spirits, and just letting it out.
But they're at this point in the film, they're too scared to like say everything that's on their mind, but like they can both tell that there's something that they're both hiding, and eventually it does come out later. And I also really love the lighting in that scene too. It's this is a very prettily shot film at points. Like they do get quite creative with the visuals.
And of course, I did of course laugh at Maud feeding Boulder box of crackers.
Yeah.
Maud.
Mod Pod never changed. Okay, so I think you said before we started that we can ignore friendship games.
Right.
Yeah, that was straight to DVD, and I didn't even like that film at all. Personally.
Right, yeah, that's right.
It introduced Sci-Twi, and I like Sci-Twi, but other than that, it's pretty forgettable.
Yeah, it basically rounds out the trilogy. The rest is just shorts.
Right.
And also,
these
Legend of Everfree, I think, is a film too, but that one is actually really bad.
It's under 60 minutes, so.
The thing is, like the first two Equestria Girls movies, they actually got theatrical releases, but I think they would have worked better as direct to DVD or TV specials, which they ended up getting eventually. So, they found their place, and I think it's a good spot to leave them.
Right. Yep. And again, the rest is just shorts. You can feel it. That's
how's that Sponge doing, by the way?
He's been kind of a lull. People aren't really interested in him, but he's been popular enough, so they're like, "Let's make another movie."
That worked out so well the last time. So what could go wrong this time? All
right.
Yep. And
you guys like the MCU?
Oh yeah, that's popular now.
I love the MCU by Marvel Cinematic Universe. We should make a Marvel movie that isn't a Marvel movie and lie to everyone about what our movie is.
Oh god, the advertising for this movie was so freaking misleading.
Oh my god, this is probably
they spoiled the whole last act.
This might be actually the most misleading marketing campaign I have ever seen for any film. Like, to the point where I think it's, like, actually kind of upsetting and worrying just how much they like trick you into. It's not at all what the trailers painted out as.
Like, and I think it's mostly going to be on land. That's only the last third.
Yeah, and like the last third is generous, honestly.
Like most of the movie is about SpongeBob and Plankton working together. I don't think that got represented at all in the trailers.
Not really. Like, I don't even think Plankton was in the trailer.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
like, we don't even see him in his superhero form, really.
Or even I remember during the food fight at the beginning.
He got one shot of him being like, oh, but like out of context, and we don't even see his Hulk form.
Right. So
yeah, like
in a way, I kind of appreciate that because, full disclosure, I didn't watch this movie for the first time until last week.
Interesting.
I had been, and I had told myself when it came out, I was going to avoid spoilers until I saw it for myself. So that's 10 years that I didn't actually know what the movie was about. But I knew, just from people talking about it, that the stuff that they showed in the trailers was not as big as they made it seem. And there was like a whole other part, a whole other story that wasn't represented there. I just didn't know what that story was, and I was pleasantly surprised by what they ended up going with, honestly.
Yeah,
I agree.
Of all the films that we're about to talk about here, this one is the one I am by far the most torn on, and like we'll get to that like as we talk about it. But
this one feels a little bit more like a series of vignettes rather than a full movie.
To start with, the live action stuff in the first film was mostly meant for like a framing device and like to get people on board who aren't as like familiar with the show and just like have a funny little thing. They cut back to it as much as they needed to. Like it did not overstay its welcome. Here, it is a lot more. I hope you like those seagulls. I really hope you like the jokes that those seagulls tell because they're in this movie a lot. And I hope you like Antonio Banderas as random pirate guy.
And I hope you like your favorite animated characters interacting with the real world for an extended period of time because that works so well in classic movies like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Underdog, Smurfs. Feel free to stop me.
The problem is I can't stop you because they're still freaking doing it!
Yeah.
They haven't stopped! They haven't learned! Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, so I'll give Antonio Banderas this. He clearly looked like he was having fun with it. Like his character was very pointless and didn't really make much sense. Like, oh, I'm going to steal this magic book so that I can run a food truck.
Like,
that's
Lame.
That's that's it.
Plankton had more motivation and a better plan than you.
It's like I have this magic book that could do anything. I'm going to send you to an island. Okay. Well, I know. Obviously, with stuff like you shoot yourself in the foot when you give yourself a plot device that you can do literally anything with it. Oh, our heroes got it. We have a page. We're going to give ourselves superpowers.
Just write the pirate out. Get the formula back.
Oh god, like I hate it when they do this kind of stuff because it completely destroys any sense of tension or world building, which is stupid to say, I realize, for a SpongeBob film, but I can't take it seriously. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie because when we're underwater and they're doing like the normal SpongeBob antics, it's a lot of fun. This like has a lot of great jokes. The food war is really fun. The food puns that they tell throughout are super cheesy, but it fits the vibe and it's like really, really great. Because like how seriously they take it, and the sound design also adds to it as well. Like when Plankton's like, it's gonna take a lot more than that and he runs into the man and a giant fart noise. Like I thought it was funny.
Yeah. As far as jokes in the underwater segment go, I didn't like the TM joke that Plankton kept hammering in. Even the first time they did it, because I think that's the kind of joke that works best if it's written out. If you can hear them pronouncing it correctly, for a word as simple as that, it's not funny the first time, and it just gets grating the 20th time.
Yeah, no, I feel ya. I feel you.
You know, I will say though, one scene I really love with Plankton is when he and SpongeBob go back in time and they meet past SpongeBob, and SpongeBob just goes, "So, do they have rocket packs in the future?" And Plankton goes, "We only came back from the day after tomorrow, dimwit."
And then he keeps asking. I was expecting this movie to have time travel. And I completely forgot this movie had time travel because it is very pointless.
Right.
It goes nowhere.
I will say that "Squeeze Me Till It Drops" song, whenever they time travel, that is like incredibly surreal. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love the visuals of this film. Like, there are a bunch of animation switch ups, like that, and also whenever Plankton like goes into SpongeBob's mind and they have like a flash style going. I love how creative the visuals get here.
And also, we have Bubbles.
Oh yeah. Voiced by Matt Berry, and I like that guy's voice. He was also the Beaver in Wild Robot.
Yeah,
He
that was when the drugs started kicking in.
Like,
That's why
I like when absurdist films
came out.
commit to being absurd. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's why I thought about this movie. This movie's like a stoner comedy, basically.
Right. When time travel was introduced, I thought they were going to do that thing they did in like Family Guy's Back to the Pilot, where more and more of their past selves just keep coming back to stop all the other past selves that have come.
Yeah, I won't lie. I think there's a later episode of SpongeBob that handles time travel in a much funnier way.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, like that episode's a riot.
They basically do that same thing in the Mermaid Man Barnacle Boy episode.
Yeah, and they just beat Man Ray out of sheer confusion.
Yeah, with here, my favorite joke personally was when Karen was like, "Okay, if you have anything you need to tell me, now is the time." And like Plankton like is like an actually really loving sentiment, and Karen's like, "Oh, Sheldon, I love you," and he just immediately turns her off and cuts her off, and like that was like really good comedic timing. Good job, movie.
I will say, no matter what season, regardless of the period of SpongeBob, Plankton is usually the best element of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. There's one bit from SpongeBob and Plankton I think doesn't get talked about enough. It's actually kind of one that hits at home for me personally. It's after Plankton gets out of SpongeBob's mind, SpongeBob is like shocked that he was lied to, and he says this, "Hey, don't take it personally, I just assume everyone's lying to me." SpongeBob's line when he goes, "That is a horrible way to live your life." I'm like, that's honestly one of my favorite line deliveries from Tom Kenny, because SpongeBob just sounds that appalled that Plankton could live that way. I'm like, and it kind of hit home for me because around that time the movie came out, I myself was having trust issues, and like the way SpongeBob kind of said that, I'm just like, it kind of gave me a little bit of a wake up call.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to remember that even when you have a silly voice type for your character, you still got to be able to act. And the Tom Kenny is kind of the master at that at this point, like taking characters that are very silly on the surface and finding ways to like make you feel for them emotionally in ways you wouldn't expect.
Right. I thought the speech that he gave the Krusty Krab while he was preparing to sacrifice himself was really nice and really well acted. Also, did anybody else notice that they used the music from those Modelo commercials?
I thought it was the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme.
It is, but I just associate it with the beer commercials now.
Wow.
Right.
That's something.
Here's where we get to my problem with the film. If they had if they had focused in more on like the mystery aspect of what happened to the secret form. Okay, it would have been so much better if we didn't have that freaking pirate opening and the secret formula just vanished, and this like was a mystery film of SpongeBob like trying to clear Plankton's name and like having it lead up to that. I think that would have been a lot more compelling, and I wish that we had focused more on like underwater stuff and like let the town have a character arc as well of them like being too reliant on the Krabby Patty and like to the point where they almost sacrifice SpongeBob for nothing. But once like they smell the Krabby Patty and they like go to look for it, they never bring up the stuff that had happened before ever again. Like there's no apology scene, there's no like realization that maybe we should like not rely on fast food as much as we are. It's just it becomes a different movie, and that really bothers me.
Yeah,
it feels like it was written. I know these things are written by multiple people, but it feels like they weren't like trying to put their drafts together in a cohesive way.
something I will give the Seagulls. I know a lot of people I can understand where people talk about when they don't like the Seagulls, but I'm just it is pretty cool that a lot of A-list voice actors are behind the Seagulls, like Rob Paulsen, Eric Bauza, Kevin Michael Richardson, Cree Summer, Eddie Deason, and even Barnacle Boy himself voices one of the Seagulls, Tim Conway. It was pretty cool. It is pretty cool that he was there. But I will give it that.
But casting can only go so far when it comes to stuff like that, because it came out around the time when Minions was at their height, and they really just wanted to make another Minions with those damn dolls.
Yeah.
Although I do remember, I also like Kyle. Kyle was the Paul Tibbets Seagull. I thought he was a little cute.
Was he the one that they thought they cooked?
Yes, that's the one.
This movie is cooked, I'll tell you what. The biggest sin that this movie commits when it comes to switching over to the stuff on the land is that it does the most cardinal egregious thing you can do for anything SpongeBob related. It goes from being absurd to being generic. That is the thing that rubs me the wrong way the most about this film. The humor takes a completely different turn and is more about we're leaning into the fact that we're fish out of water. Look at these things that we don't understand. We're going to interact with these things and be really silly around it, and all these really cheap actors that don't know how to act are going to pretend that we're in the sandcastles or the candy or whatever, and oh no, what is it? We're gonna be superheroes now. We got powers and stuff, and we're gonna say one-liners and try to be cool. And it's a completely different movie, and it's not even a good movie. It's generic as hell, and that is, you should never ever do that for a SpongeBob anything. And that is why I'm so torn on this film, because I love the stuff underwater to an extent, because they cut back to the live action stuff quite a bit still, and it's very jarring. But then once they dropped the Plankton and SpongeBob dynamic, which was part of what was carrying this film for me and my enjoyment of it, once that's dropped and Plankton is out of the movie for a bit, they lost me. They freaking lost me. And it kind of leads into what I was saying before about the SpongeBob movie, the original one, that they only needed SpongeBob and Patrick for it. Everybody else, they didn't need to be there. This could have been a SpongeBob and Plankton movie, and it would have been fine. But they just they add basically nothing. They're just there to fill a quota because, these are the characters that people recognize. And I just did not like it one bit.
Right, I agree.
I'm kind of with you there.
It just feels a little lesser somehow. It just feels more chaotic, less focused.
Yeah.
Carrot, I have to agree with you on some points. I think that some of the live action stuff in there works fine for me personally. Some of it, I'm at least glad they didn't have some generic actor that they have to what's my life turning into? My life is real. But SpongeBob and his friends are going to come in and fix his life. I'm so glad they didn't do that. But
I would have been like that scene where Squidward is banging his head on the cash register if they had done that direction for the whole film. I would have actually lost it.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad they didn't do that, but at the same time, there's some jokes where I'm just I'm sorry, I wouldn't see this in SpongeBob. The bit where Squidward aims, he goes, it happens when I'm nervous. I'm when does that ever happen on SpongeBob? At all?
The worst one was when they were they ate the candy and now they're sugar high and they're really fast, and the reveal of Sandy's been moving a bunch of postcards to make it seem like they're running around the world, and I'm just thinking, why is she even moving the postcards to begin with? This doesn't
it would be funnier if the joke wasn't there.
This doesn't make any sense.
I guess, but personally, it wasn't a hilarious joke, but it did get a little bit of a chuckle out of me. Just because I liked seeing SpongeBob and Patrick, just their reactions to it was a little, not hilarious, but it did get a little bit of a chuckle out of me.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think that's cool. We skip forward ahead in time. The year is now 2017. My Little Pony had been working on this. I think this next movie was announced at the same time as Equestria Girls. It had basically one major draft, and it was putting stuff out, but they're okay, you want a pony movie? We'll give you a pony movie.
About 3 years too late.
Yeah, the hype was through the roof, though, for this one, I remember.
Although, some funny, when I went to go see the movie, like, when Hanazuki came on, I'm just like, what the hell is this?
I knew what Hanazuki was, I just hadn't seen it yet, so I was in for a trip.
The only reason I actually knew what Hanazuki was before the short was because I was familiar. Because I was like somewhat familiar with like Cassandra Lee Morris's work at the time, and like she voices a character on the show. So I was like, oh, it's another thing she said. I will check that out. And
yeah, Hanazuki herself is Jessica DeSico, who's pretty prominent also.
You know, for the longest time, this was actually the earliest movie I've ever saw on the big screen, like the earliest I went to. But it recently got overshadowed by two different showings. One was a re-showing of The Lion King, my favorite movie of all time. Sweet. And recently, The Day the Earth Blew Up.
We'll get to that. Right, but yes, My Little Pony, the movie, it was hyped, it was pushed up, but it was also kind of underwhelming once we took a step back.
Remember what we were saying about the SpongeBob movie? How even if you're not like into SpongeBob, it could still appeal to a general audience, which was what makes that pirate opening so iconic. Yeah, that is not the case for the My Little Pony movie. This basically requires that you've seen the show up to this point.
You must be a master of the lore.
Right, and also Rainbow Rocks was repetitive. Boy, oh boy, do I have something a little bit more repetitive here.
Oh my god, this plot is terrible!
It's the same plot as the SpongeBob movie.
Look, the more I watch these films, the more it just made me appreciate the SpongeBob film more, and like how that was lightning in a bottle, pretty much.
You mentioned that the movies are so similar. I'm just imagining the scene of Celestia and the other princesses getting encased in crystallines Twilight, just like, oh no, who's gonna sign my paycheck?
Don't worry, princesses, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, we have the manager of the brain character getting frozen. We have to go on this big crazy road trip to find a magic MacGuffin to bring them back. And there's a hitman in place to stop them, and the whole film's about the obstacles they go through.
And they almost die.
Multiple times.
Almost die.
In fact, they almost die underwater, which is the reversal of SpongeBob and Patrick almost dying above water.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this movie.
That is really... I think they might have taken a little bit of inspiration, possibly.
Right.
So what to say about this movie? I liked the cat song. That song was good.
I like that song, too.
Like,
Tay Diggs is a good singer.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I already didn't care about the songs care much about the shows here, show songs in general. This movie honestly just felt like they're table scraps of songs.
Right.
I don't know.
Actually, one small thing was okay.
I have a soft spot for "We Got This Together." It's like a nice establishing opening song.
Right. But yeah, I could tell this movie had no major rewrites. In fact, I feel like Starlight Glimmer was based on Tempest Shadow, not the other way around.
Here's something else I want to point out about the song. In the song, One Small Thing, I'm just like, at first I was kind of like, wasn't getting into it, but I was like appreciating its message. Just like, sometimes we didn't find joy in like the smallest things. I'm like, okay, not bad. But then they say, or a tall thing. I'm just like, that ruined the song. I'm just like, that ruined, what am I supposed to feel now?
Oh yeah, once they start doing like the very repetitive and convoluted rhyming, that's when they kind of lose me too.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel Miranda, these writers are not.
Stop trying to be Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's his style. Nobody else can replicate it because it's his style. So stop.
But even then, I hear that's not doing well. I mean, do you hear? Look at the Mufasa remake. It's
Oh boy. Okay. How do you guys feel about the animation upgrade?
Mixed. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it terrifies the hell out of me. There's a famous scene of them all falling from the hot air balloon. At one point, it does like a close-up of Pinky's face, screaming, and then going into Smile HD face. A lot of people thought that was funny. I wanted to run away and never look back. I hated the way that looked with a burning passion. Seriously, get that out of my face.
Oh.
I feel like it's something they had to do to upgrade for the movie.
And of course,
But I feel like
it's in
a
all
little
the trailers.
Yep, it was
Gotta get that shot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Right, it's
You know,
part of the
anytime-
upgrade for Toon Boom, which made it work. Sometimes it works. The landscape shots are pretty good. The characters not so much.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
thing I really love about the aesthetic is how massive the scale feels. Like these the environments feel freaking huge. Like that shot of Twilight walking into the throne room. It's never felt that massive before. I love the hell out of that.
And I do agree. Like the landscape feels huge. The character animation I am kind of mixed on. Like they look fine, but the way they move and stuff, I'm just like it's not something like Disney or something like that.
See,
Like,
I can appreciate how varied the expressions are, for instance, but I think it's their default poses where they kind of lose me, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I think I realized what was throwing me off about it. It's their mouths. Their mouths didn't translate super well. Because in the show, everybody looks like great. The designs are iconic for a reason, but I think they try to add too many little details to it that just make it feel off, uncanny even.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it could just be because of the art style change itself, but I don't know. Just when they're just talking normally, it feels weirdly stiff sometimes, and not all that convincing, and the voices don't quite match. I don't know. It's a very little, very personal preference kind of thing, and hard to describe. But it takes me out of it a couple times.
Yeah. Also, back to the soundtrack. Funny thing, this song features tracks from Rachel Platten and Lucas Graham, and in both cases, it's probably the best songs of their careers.
Oh damn.
It's true. It's true.
Well, the less we talk about the pop stars associated with this film, the better.
Yeah, about what you said about Emily Blunt. It's funny. This was the question on Jeopardy once, where they talked about Emily Blunt being in it, and Mom was like, "Why would Emily Blunt be in something like the MLP movie?"
Yeah.
Well, okay, I will say this. I think Emily Blunt might actually be my favorite part of the film, because Tempest is the Dazzlings for the first part of it. She's actually weirdly good at being a villain. I found her intimidating enough. I thought she had a nice sense of aura about her. But once they started trying to give her a backstory and making her sympathetic, that's when they kind of started to lose me.
Yoda Jack raised a pretty interesting idea here. Tempest should have been the villain, and Storm King should have been redeemed. It would have been a perfect idea and what it was building up to.
Yeah, the whole thing about saying and Twilight has this line where she goes, "Why are you doing this? You're a pony, just like me."
Oh God!
I'm just like, bitch, you raised a baby dragon. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh man, I like the Storm King had some funny scenes whenever he was on screen. He's in the movie for 10 minutes. I hate it when it's Have you guys ever played Twilight Princess or any of the Zelda games?
Yes.
They do the freaking Ganondorf thing that I hate, where he's only hinted at, they have somebody doing all the bidding throughout the entire movie or runtime of the game, and then Ganondorf just comes in to be the final boss, and there's it didn't feel earned at all, and it's very shoehorned, and he's only there because Ganondorf is iconic and they needed a big boss to end it off. That is what Storm King feels like to me. He feels like Twilight Princess Ganondorf. It did not feel like they did as much as they could have with him, and that disappoints me.
I agree. Again, Storm King was funny and he had the right ideas, so he could have possibly been reformed.
Yeah.
And you asked me about this, Jackson, and I think you have a point. I didn't really buy the redemption from Tempest. It kind of felt like we can't have the pony be the main bad guy. We gotta have the pony be redeemed because it's more marketable. And
so ponies can be redeemed, but whatever the Storm King is can't. That's
racist,
Hasbro.
We never see another. Yeah, we never see his kind at all. The closest I could think of is the bad guy that Daring Do fights.
Right, Ali Zodal.
Yes, that guy.
But yeah, I thought Storm King was a Yeti.
So did I.
He's like a Yeti monkey bear thing.
Right. Yep.
Baboon.
But he does that, and he approaches it. This is kind of reminds me of an anime filler movie, like the One Piece movies.
Yeah.
Except it's not filler because season 8 picks up immediately where it left off.
Yeah.
So you have to watch this movie if you want to know what's going on.
Right. But yet we never see Tempest Shadow again.
Yeah, she has a cameo during the final battle in season 9, but she doesn't say anything.
That barely counts.
Right. As far as her redemption goes, it's not the worst I've seen, but that's because the bar is so low.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that they actually gave her kind of a "what have I done" moment when she realizes that everything that she's been working for was just empty promises. Like there is something there, and I've seen it done well before. I've seen it done better, oddly enough, in the Gen 5 movie, New Generation.
Oh.
It's been a while since I've seen that, but whoever the bad guy's mom is, who's like feeding him all these ideas about segregation, when she sees how far it's pushing her son, she's like, yeah, this is wrong. I'm the one in the wrong here.
Yeah, that is a movie that exists.
Indeed.
But I see where you're coming from, though. Yeah, with your
problem for not marketing G5.
See, we compared this a lot to the SpongeBob film, but it falls into the trap that the SpongeBob film very cleverly stepped out of that I was sort of alluding to before, because it's mostly about SpongeBob, Patrick, and Plankton. Like, they're the main focus, like, from the main cast, and they have a very limited amount of new characters that come in, like, and that fulfill their purpose. This film is too many cooks. The movie. It has way too many characters in it.
Yeah, and it makes the second act feel repetitive. They meet a character, there's a song, on to the next one.
And they have an action scene escaping, rinse and repeat for the next 30 minutes.
Right.
What they should have. Okay, this is you know how people say that Applejack and Fluttershy felt kind of sidelined.
Yeah.
They needed to commit. They needed somebody to stay behind in Equestria to do a covert ops thing, to try and help people out, to have that be a subplot thing. And we only needed Twilight, Rainbow Dash, Pinky, Rarity, and Spike to go on the journey, because they're the only ones that actually do anything remotely relevant to the plot. And in fact, at that point, you could even cut Rarity if you rewrite the film a little bit, because some of the new characters. I said that group because they're the ones that actually interact with the new peeps the most, Capper and Rarity, Rainbow Dash and the Pirates, etc.
Right.
But you don't even really need that many new characters, if I'm being honest. It felt like they were just there so that they could have more celebrities to point out in the marketing. And if you had just focused on the journey and them doing various things, and then them getting to the underwater world and actually spending time there and learning about the folks that live there and figuring out what went wrong, and then actually warming up to them over time, and
so basically turning it into Atlantis.
Yeah, winning their trust. And so that way, when Twilight betrays them and trying to steal the gem, that moment could actually hit harder, as hard as I think it was trying to.
Oh, there we go to my least favorite part of the movie, the forced third act breakup, which required Twilight to break character to even happen.
Here we go. Who wants to take this one? Because this is a big one. This is a doozy.
I will. You see, Twilight should not have done that because she knows better. She has it all in her head, and she had a special plan. And Pinkie Pie, of all characters, being the one to chew her out on it, is also a bit out of character because she was having fun and she was filling the ranks with everyone. So you could have given Applejack something to do. She's the voice of reason here. But again, it was very forced, and it did not need to happen, or at least had to be done with another pony, because it just feels wrong for Twilight to be the one to force the breakup.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. That it only needed to be a select portion of the cast. As cruel as that sounds, you know I'm right deep down. The storyteller part of you knows that I'm right.
I will say this, though. You know what Pinkie Pie, I'm being honest about Pinkie Pie in this movie. She annoyed the fuck out of me in this movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It got pretty bad.
But here's the thing. Her performance here reminds me of SpongeBob in Breath of Fresh Squidward. Let me explain. In the first half, SpongeBob is, like, fucking annoying. Like, he's just, like, not funny, stuff like that. But in the next half, he acts like his old self. That is a problem. That is the same thing with Peachy in this. In the first half, she's really annoying, but then she starts acting like she's the most sensible, like she's like a lot smarter. Like, it does not complement how she acted in the first half.
She also has no survival instincts too, like freaking jumping on the rope and like causing the thing to break and almost falling to her death. And then Twilight saves her, and she was like, "That was awesome!" Like, you are not this stupid in the show. What were they thinking when writing you?
Yeah, like and top of that, Spike wasn't even almost there. So she almost killed Spike on top of that.
Like, holy crap! Like oh god! Like, I'm almost like wondering if it would have been better if it was like just Twilight, Pinky, and Spike. What if it was like just the three of them? Because like that's clearly who the movie wanted to focus on the most. Like the other ones, like the other characters, like Fluttershy has like 3, maybe 4 lines of dialogue. To be fair, one of them was a pretty funny moment where she was like giving therapy to the guard. Like,
this might be a little cruel, but what if at least 3 of the main 6 were imprisoned also?
Yeah, so like I say either have them be imprisoned like they do in the SpongeBob movie, or like give them a little secret like B plot mission of like trying to get together like a little rebellion of people who like were able to escape, like trying to like round up the ranks.
Kind of like what they did in Crystal Empire, you know, cut back and forth between them. Speaking of Crystal Empire, Twilight should have already learned this lesson of, you know, looking at the big picture, not just being focused on the one set goal.
Right, Crystal Empire is one of the better two-parters because of that.
Because it doesn't know whether to focus like solely on the fans or like trying to introduce new people into it. It forgets. It has lore that you need to know, but it also forgets lore too. Because there are so many things that there are so many like MacGuffins and like characters that could have helped out that they just do not acknowledge. Draconicus in the room. Where the fuck was Discord?
No,
Where was he?
The reason he's not in this movie is because he would have solved everything in 5 seconds. I feel like they could. I always imagine going something like Chowder. No Discord. You're not in this movie.
I would have my solution would have been, and I think Jackson, you did a similar thing. Have a post-credit scene where he like shows up. Like, do you guys remember the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends movie, the TV movie they did for that? Mm-hmm. They have that. Yeah, I want them to do a similar joke where gosh, I forget her name. Madam
Foster.
Madam Foster. What's the granny's name from Foster's Home? What's her name? They have a joke about her like not being in the movie, and she's like, "I'm back. Where is everyone?" That would have like solved my problems with Discord not being there.
You know, with what we said about Discord, I will say my thoughts on the movie aside, Closure I think is still one of my favorite things I've ever written. Like the aftermath of the movie.
Yeah, no, you locked in for that one. A lot of people forget that Spike is a kid, but this would be probably a very traumatic experience for him.
Right.
Yep. Anyway, this was kind of a disappointment. There was technically a sequel, Rainbow Road Trip. I think that's out of the focus of our show.
That one was nothing. That was just nothing. Nothing happened in that thing.
Right. Makes me kind of glad there wasn't a sequel, honestly.
Yeah.
Same.
So, I appreciate the effort. But I do think another draft was needed. Some changes, some cuts needed to be made. It's one of those things where when you're making a video that you're passionate about, you have to like make those kinds of hard decisions. Not everybody is like necessary to the overall
didn't
thing.
even bother to submit it for Best Animated Feature, which kind of shows what was going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would never have stood a chance. Are you kidding me?
That class was stacked. Even aside from Coco, it had Loving Vincent.
I will say this though. I would have picked My Little Pony the movie over the fucking Boss Baby.
Oh yeah, that got nominated that year.
I would have picked Captain. I would have picked Captain Underpants over Boss Baby.
Yeah, Studio would have filled the spot.
I would have picked the Lego Batman movie. That would be my pick.
Aw, that's a very fun one.
That one. Okay, I think we have like 2 movies left on the docket, and they're 2 sides of the same coin, I think.
No, three. We have 3
more
left.
Oh, 3. Oh, Sponge on the Run, the one I always forget exists.
Sponge
I hope we didn't spoil our thoughts on that. by almost forgetting to talk about it.
Backdoor pilot for Camp Coral.
Okay, here's what I have to say about this film. It is very pretty. It has very pretty animation. I love the animation style. I wish that it was like that the entire time. I wish they had committed to that animation style the entire time. But I really, really liked it.
This movie wasn't
from
good.
here. Oh, God!
Sponge on the Run. It's like a weaker version of We're Scary.
Right.
And it's not even. It doesn't even fucking commit to that plot. It becomes a freaking oh God, what's the movie about the angel like showing the guy that what everyone's life would. It becomes It's a Wonderful. This movie was almost called It's a Wonderful Sponge, and it shows. Because it becomes about like how much like SpongeBob means to everybody, even though that isn't what the plot was about, and he's on trial for like disturbing the peace or whatever. What does his character have to do with the trial? Why is this in the movie?
God, that scene lasts for like 10 minutes.
Right, again, backdoor pilot for Camp Coral. That's pretty much all this is.
A lot of people complain about how this like goes against the lore of SpongeBob, because SpongeBob meets Sandy like underwater for the first time. But like they met for the first time as adults in the show, not when they were kids. I've seen defenses on Twitter be like, "Oh no, there's an episode of Camp Coral where Sandy talks to an alternate dimension version of herself that is the Sandy from the SpongeBob show. So that's why it's a different backstory." I don't give a fuck what they said in this show. That wasn't in the movie. That is not a defense. Get out of here. So that is my. So if you ever try to say that as a defense to me, I just no, get out of here.
Alternate dimensions, whatever. Who cares about Camp Coral? Who cares?
No, we need to get SpongeBob back. It peaked with pickles. They didn't need to do it again after that episode. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it has potential. Like, remember that famous video? Now that SpongeBob is gone, I gotta get SpongeBob back. I gotta get SpongeBob back.
That's pretty much this movie.
That's an exception.
We gotta get SpongeBob back. Why?
My favorite part of that whole video is that it just starts with Squidward saying, just being happy, and then just flipping right to saying that he needs to get SpongeBob back.
Oh my god, SpongeBob memes never die.
Right.
Yeah, like,
but yes, Jax, what are your more comprehensive thoughts on the show?
like
Or the movie.
Yeah.
I'll be real with you guys. Out of the movies we're talking about here, this is my least favorite.
Agreed.
Go on.
Like even there were things I liked about My Little Pony the movie, like that I thought were good. Like not just the fact that I wrote closure, but like I liked some stuff, like the animation. Like heck, I even think Rubber's kind of funny. Like that's kind of stuff like that.
Also, Rarity is at her. I just should have said Rarity is at her best in the film too.
But this movie, outside of like a couple scenes I laughed at, and some of the music I'll admit is decent. This does not feel like SpongeBob to me. I'm sorry. Like, the characters don't act like themselves. Like, it has a completely different sense of humor. I want to say the people behind this, it feels like the people behind this didn't even watch SpongeBob, but that sadly isn't true. The director of this film is Tim Hill, and he helped develop SpongeBob with Steven Hillenburg and Derek Ryman. So, like, it really is... It's just really sad, really.
I think this is one of the last things Hillenburg signed off on before he passed.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
exactly. And like, I was even looking forward to the music. Hans Zimmer, the guy who did compose the music for The Lion King, was behind this. I'm like, holy shit, this is gonna be something epic. I don't remember the score. I don't remember the score at all. I'm just like, man, like.
When Hans Zimmer is forgettable, you done something wrong.
Yeah,
but don't worry. At least we have Livin' La Vida Loca.
I was about to say they did the Shrek 2 thing. At least we have dancing zombie scene with
what
Snoop
the
Dogg.
fuck was that?
I should say about Snoop Dogg. Every time I talk about Snoop Dogg, I always just say, featuring Martha Stewart's best friend, Snoop Dogg. I'd always start saying that. Oh, and also, cutting back to Martha Stewart's best friend, Snoop Dogg, that's what I always say. I'm just like, I'm sorry, it never gets old to me.
Yes,
no, that's good.
It also has the obligatory SpongeBob celebrity cameo, but even Keanu could not be bothered to care.
Oh my god!
I don't use the term phoned in lightly, but it looks like he literally filmed himself like over Zoom or something.
Oh my god!
He's not even trying.
I think it's fitting that he's characterized as a literal bundle of dead weight.
Like at first, this isn't too bad, but like very quickly, it wears out its welcome, and every time he's just on there, I'm just like, oh no!
I'm like, Keanu, what do they have on you? How did they hurt you? How did they get you to be in this movie?
And I'm just like, and the thing is, like, Keanu Reeves, I think is a great actor. He's both being serious, both being funny, but I'm just like, none of that is used here.
I was between shoots on John Wick 3.
I needed to fund my car, my sixth car. Also, Matt Berry is back again, and he's doing the exact same voice.
I was just about to say that. Like, here's the thing. SpongeBob has had, even like now, they bring back guest stars for different characters like Mark Hamill, Gilbert Gottfried, Eddie Deason, Henry Winkler. Matt Berry, I'm sorry to say, I liked his bubbles. I didn't like him in this movie. I'm sorry.
It is my least favorite villain trope of all time. Oh, I only care about my looks, and that's my only defining character trait, and I pose no threat to the overall plot because I don't do anything, and when I try to be threatening, I immediately fold like a baby when somebody points out my insecurities.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 villain.
At least Michael McKean gave a funny performance in that movie, though.
Yeah, okay, I'll bite. He did. He was a little.
It's not a good character, but Michael McKean was funny at least.
God, we're praising Hunchback 2 over this.
I could kiss me, but I might fall in love.
But yeah, Sponge on the Run literally almost skipped it over because I forgot about it. That's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
The only saving grace was how nice the animation looked.
Yeah.
There are also a couple of things, one or two things I like. Even though I hate the friendship breakup between SpongeBob and Patrick, it did lead to a very funny joke. Like, Patrick opens the cell to go to another one. I'm like, okay, that actually got a laugh out of me.
That felt like a SpongeBob core joke.
Yeah, this movie did a breakup. The thing we criticized MLP for, the thing that the first SpongeBob movie so masterfully avoided.
And they even I thought that they were like making a joke about the trope itself because like they sort of hint at it at the beginning where Patrick's like, oh, we're gonna go on a journey and a quest and possibly a third act breakup, and which first of all, that is not how SpongeBob dialogue goes at all. It is far too meta. Far too meta for its own good. The closest they get to like pointing out tropes like that is when Squidward's like, why must every 11 minutes of my life be filled with misery? Like, that's the closest they ever get to dialogue like that. With Patrick, it was way too on the nose, and they're like, oh, I guess like they're doing it as like quick gag here, but then they do it later and it goes nowhere. It literally goes nowhere. And it's over a MacGuffin that means nothing. The coin means nothing to us. And the only reason they got that coin was from a weird like fever dream thing. And Keanu's like, remember, like, look for the meaning in this dream. It'll be important later. It has no fucking meaning. It could have been covered in the film and nothing would have changed.
Yeah, and but there's also two musical sequences I actually do like. Like, the Secret of the Formula song, I'll admit, is actually pretty catchy. Like, if the rest of the song if the movie had more songs like that, it would have gotten a huge boost. And also, I really do love Kenny G's cover of Gary Come Home. It genuinely did sound nice.
Kenny G, yep. He's coming in for his obvious ex-speak, Kelpie G.
Yeah, I'm like, the fact that he actually voiced Kelpie G there, like, that's also something I have to give credit for. That was actually a really nice cameo.
Well, I mean, it was one of the better celebrity cameos, because the other ones, it's just like, I'm Tiffany Haddish, but now I'm Tiffany Hadfish. Laugh.
Oh, you stink!
I'm Aquafina, but I'm doing a robot voice, and my character also could have been cut from the film, and nothing would have changed.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like, just wait for her and the bad guys. Like, she'll get better there.
Yeah. Aside from the stupid dream sequence, most of what I felt from this movie was just boredom. It wasn't like cringe-worthy behavior, but it was mostly like, just get through it, you know?
Yeah.
The dream sequence. I also want to point out that the transition to the dream sequence is shit. Okay, like we don't even see when they end up falling asleep. They just see him, boom, in the desert. I'm just like, wait, what? Oh, okay, now they're in the western with zombies. What? Like,
my guess is that they were trying to like keep it up in the air of whether or not they were actually dreaming, because Danny Trejo's character has the line about, he told you were dreaming and you believed him. So whereas the audience were like, oh, maybe they're actually not dreaming, but then they were dreaming, so it didn't matter. That's my best like justification I could come up with for why there was no actual transition into them dreaming.
Right. So I think we can all agree that Sponge on the Run was a dud.
Yeah.
A boring dud for me, but I'll give it this. Boring is preferable to annoying.
Well, okay, and I'll also say the ending was pretty heartwarming, that they turned Bikini Bottom into a snail sanctuary. That actually made me very happy to see.
Yeah,
that was nice. I will say though, like, I don't get the use for Take on Me. Like, I understand it more in the Mario movie personally.
Oh God.
Like,
that's saying a lot.
And like, I already love the Mario movie, but I didn't understand the Take on Me part to be like, but I'm just like, I enjoyed the rest of the movie fine. But here for SpongeBob, I was like, why is it here?
Yeah, I heard as part of a rule of thumb for needle drops is either the music or the lyrics need to fit. If both fit, it's too blatant. If neither fits, it's superfluous. For the Mario movie, I feel Take on Me, at least the music fit.
Like at the very least, the brief slow ride needle drop fit better than Take on Me.
Well, the thing that pisses me off about the Mario movie is that if you look at the soundtrack on Spotify, they had music that originally did fit that scene perfectly, that was based off of the Donkey Kong Country themes, but they just didn't use it for a pop song instead. That's why I hate that part.
Understandable.
Missed opportunity.
Well, anyway, next up we have two movies to set for spin-offs, and I feel like they're two sides of the same coin.
Oh, boy.
So I feel like discussing them together. What made the Plankton movie more or less work while the Sandy movie did not?
I can describe it briefly in one word: pacing. The Sandy Cheeks movie just starts. Almost no build-up, and everything else that happens just kind of happens. Like, Sandy meets up with her family. That happens. Barely makes a dent in any of the emotional moments of the rest of the movie.
Okay, so, Jackson, you said that Sponge on the Run was your least favorite. Who also said that it was their least favorite?
Wesley?
I said it.
Yeah, okay. For me, it's not even close. Like, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I was saying that Sponge on the Run was boring bad. This is annoying bad, and that is so much less tolerable for me. I can't think of a single joke that I laughed at, aside from maybe the SpongeBob clones playing an impromptu orchestra during the emotional scene. That got a smirk out of me.
There was another joke I love, like, it's when Fred says, "It's raining phase ones, and they're free!"
Yeah, I like that. I like that joke too.
Yeah, Sandy's pretty chaotic, getting over the top, and has one of the weirdest uses of their SpongeBob celebrity cameo.
Yeah, I will say this though, the live action stuff in the movie is fucking shit. I will say, I will agree on.
I can't even say, but the Sandy's like her scientist buddies, like those the two people that are like, you know, doing Wanda Sykes' bidding. That's how you know a villain is bad, when you only refer to them as the actor playing them and not their actual name. But like those two minions, I can't even say their performances were bad, because they weren't even trying to act. It's like, I can't even qualify it as a performance worth critiquing, because they were just It was the definition of just nothing. They weren't even trying to do anything.
Yeah,
it was so awful.
Yeah, the Sandy Cheeks movie is kind of a little hot garbage, and I feel like another thing that the Plankton movie did better, character, particularly SpongeBob. SpongeBob in this movie is just lazy and juvenile. The first thing he says is "No Netflix" when Bikini Bottom.
Oh yeah,
my on-demand streaming services. I can't demand them anymore.
Stop! I know it's a Netflix movie. Stop reminding me.
I remember people getting up in arms about that joke. I got to that point in the movie and I'm like, yeah, that's bad. But is it really any worse than the other jokes in the movie? Because this is painfully unfunny. I'm sorry.
I think it sets the tone perfectly for the rest of the movie. Because that's the bar it sets for the rest of the comedy.
And it never clears it. That's the thing.
We also get scenes of SpongeBob sniffing scat on the ground and tickling people's feet while in the pool, and the Sandy getting inflated from being bitten by a snake. Nickelodeon is never going to escape the allegations, are they?
Right. But also, the other thing is Sandy's parents were kind of anticipated for a long time in the SpongeBob fandom. We wondered what they were like because we'd seen everyone else's parents. So, what are Sandy's like? And it was kind of underwhelming and kind of out of our character ideas. We thought they'd be a scientist too.
I will say though, I do like how Grey Delisle voices some of the family members. Like she did a good job here. I think personally.
I am of the opinion that Grey Delisle is a great voice actor, but she's gotten to the point where she's just kind of become a safe choice for casting directors, and the fact that she voices half of Sandy's family tells to me, wow, they were very, very lazy when casting Sandy's family and didn't even try to find any other female voice actors to play them, which I think sucks.
I will say this though, I like her better here than in the Loud House, personally.
Oh shit!
Dang, there's a hot take for you.
Hey, I don't care. I stand by it.
I mean, I don't like Loud House, so I don't know why I said oh shit.
Right, yeah. But anyway, they had this whole thing, and it's just slow ride up till the climax, and that there's no real story. It's just get SpongeBob back.
The closest thing they try to a conflict with her family is one sentence from Sandy's mom where she's like, we're fine with her doing anything so long as it's in Texas. And you're like, oh, I guess now she's gotta convince them that she wants to stay in Bikini Bottom. It's never brought up again.
Never.
It's never ever brought up again.
It makes you think that there's going to be an arc, an emotional journey. See, that's how they get you.
And Sandy doesn't have a character in this film. She just is there to fill the protagonist role, and that is it.
Right.
They try to do something where the town is, you did all this research, and I couldn't have done it without you. And the town's like, oh no, Sandy, how could you? That's also never brought up again.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even trying.
That's probably the biggest point where Plankton succeeds, where this movie fails. Because all the stuff that happens in Plankton, it is Plankton's fault, and they hammer that point in.
And wouldn't you know it, the film actually focuses on Plankton as a character, and it's an actual character. It's literally a character study of him, and expands on him in a very interesting way.
And SpongeBob actually tries to help. He feels compassionate. He has sympathy for Plankton. He's an engaging purpose. He has reason to be there.
And he has depths to his personality, like when he abandons Plankton because he realized that he had been used by him. He felt genuinely betrayed there. But then when he came back to save him, I really like that line of I still think you're a jerk, but I couldn't leave you behind. That is SpongeBob. That perfectly summarizes SpongeBob to a T.
More props to Tom Kenny voice acting again. He was able to take the silly character and make him sound serious.
Yeah, when SpongeBob says to Plankton, Plankton, you caused this. And now look what's happened. You did this. I'm like, Tom Kenny's really adds his heart out here, but they still throw in a good joke with him going back to that therapist bit where he pretty much calls out Plankton and calls him a petty, pathetic jerk. I'm like, it felt oh man, like if SpongeBob's calling him out, that's something. And like unlike Pinky from My Little Pony the movie or Brother for Squidward, this felt earned in my opinion.
Yeah, because it came from that character who is known for being a jerk and for being the bad guy. Also, again, Plankton, best character in later SpongeBob, and his relationship with Karen finally gets explored deeper, and I love seeing them together.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say one more thing about SpongeBob. They also do the thing of like, oh, like he's not taking the situation seriously, and he's like annoying characters. He's just like being annoying for the sake of being annoying. It's handled so much better in the Plankton movie than in the Sandy film because, for one, it like serves. It actually like moves the plot forward in an interesting way because, like, for example, in the invention scene, like because SpongeBob was touching everything, it got like Plankton frozen, and because of that, he was forced to like be hypnotized some more and like go into his backstory more. So it actually served a purpose, and also he annoys the characters more than the audience. Like Plankton's actually visibly reacting to what he's doing, whereas Sandy is just kind of like tolerating it for the most part, and it feels like completely unneeded, and like there's no real point to it as well. That at least with Pinky being annoying, yes, she was insufferable a lot of times, but I could tell what they were going for. At least that they were like trying to focus on the relationship between her and Twilight. They just obviously they didn't commit to that, but I saw what they were going for. I didn't see any like attempt at that in the Sandy movie, unfortunately.
Right.
No,
Yeah, when I first saw this movie, I thought there were some continuity errors with Friend or Foe, but upon rewatch, I think there are some ideas where it could work, because they had, it said in Friend or Foe that Karen was a security drone within the Krusty Krab at first, but then it shows that Plankton invented Karen in his youth. But I think that doesn't necessarily contradict the story. And also, the original business partnership of Krabs and Plankton, it could have just been possible Plankton didn't try the new patty yet.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
it's one of those things where it's like, it would have been nice if, because like Plankton has no reaction to Mr. Krabs being there, so it could be interpreted any way, really. They technically don't contradict the fact that they were friends before, because it's not like they're saying this is the first time that we've met, like here in the Krusty Krab right now. It's just, I think it's just their way of like keeping this accessible to like outsiders, which I think is more important than lore at times, especially when it's for something like that in service to the story itself.
I do appreciate that they call back to Plankton's hillbilly roots. I love that. With all of his relatives, Rufus, Jeek, Billy Bob, Billy Jim, Billy Bo, Billy Banana, Fanafo, Billy.
I get it! Dude, and, okay, when we got to that scene and they started like doing the rubber hose style for the song, I was like, oh hell yeah, this is awesome. And then when they did like the animation switch ups like throughout the film, I was like, this is what I want out of a SpongeBob movie. This is sick.
Like that, like the empathy chip scene was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it like felt like I was watching a music video.
Right. Yeah. Also, the first movie. This is SpongeBob's honest to goodness musical. There's enough songs.
Yeah. It's actually better than the My Little Pony movie, which is hilarious.
Oh, and there's something I want to bring up. My two favorite songs in the movie are Plankton's song when he's trying to steal the formula in the restaurant, and I'm a Jerky Jerk. I'm a Jerky Jerk honestly sounds like something out of Elton John. And I'm just like, it also has two very hilarious jokes on top of that. You remember what they are?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Are you talking about the piano reveal?
Yeah, like, we first think he's playing a big piano, but it's a tiny piano. But then we see it's a player piano, so he's not even playing it. I'm just like, that is not only funny, it's something I can see Plankton actually doing.
But and then the next joke they do is, it almost feels like a callback to the Goofy Goober Rock song sequence when it cuts to the live action hand playing. And that made me like laugh out loud hysterically. I loved how they presented that.
I also want to say that like I was already back into SpongeBob around the 2015 to present era. When I was seeing ads for SpongeBob Run or the Sandy Cheeks movie, Plankton the movie, that is the film I wanted out of those two movies, and I'm glad we got it here. Because, it makes me proud to be a fan, basically.
Yeah, and the icing on the cake is that Plankton himself wrote it.
Yeah, this was a Mr. Lawrence production.
Who better to do Plankton? Who better to write the Plankton movie than the character who brought him to life?
Exactly.
Oh, and speaking of, did you guys notice a certain cameo during the beach destruction scene?
Doug himself, yep.
Yeah, one the snorkeler running away was Mr. Lawrence. And I could tell by the way he was screaming.
Oh, man, it would have been funny if they made him
an
an artist on the beach instead, as a callback to Frankendoodle.
Aw, that would have been nice.
I thought that was Steve Anthony Baker.
No, that was Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, right.
Oh, and I love
if you have trouble telling, just listen to the way he screams. He has a very distinct scream.
Yes, I know he does. It goes all the way back to Rocco.
Oh, and I love how they bring back the Gal Pals, which is a friendship formed between Sandy, Mrs. Puff, Karen, and Pearl in the later seasons. I'm so glad that was used as some sort of part of the story in the movie. I love seeing them interact here. I thought that was a really nice touch.
But the best. Yeah, the best part is that they don't take away the focus from Plankton's character. They're there to call him out and get him to Karen, and Sandy and everyone end up looking way more badass than at any point in her own movie, which is really funny to me.
Yeah. I also want SpongeBob a sausage fest, so here are 4 ladies for you.
Yeah, there you go. the Gal Pals, and it didn't feel like pandering at all too. It felt natural.
Right.
Oh, and also, my favorite part of the movie, one of my favorite parts, because I love this movie so much, is the resolution. After Plankton and Karen reconcile, you might be thinking, oh, so they're just going to, stop this world domination thing? Nope! Plankton joins Karen on the ride of taking over the world, continuing where they left off. They just happen to get stopped by SpongeBob and his friends. I'm like, I love that! I love that so much, and it just feels like something Plankton would do. He wouldn't, give up trying to take the world. He wouldn't, try to, stop taking over the world. They're no, he would continue it. I'm like, I love that. This really does feel like Plankton's movie because of scenes like that.
Yeah,
I'm so glad the live action stuff was played very sparingly. They didn't go too hard on it.
Right. And again, the celebrity cameo is just Doug Lawrence himself.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the most hyped cameo I've seen in all of these SpongeBob movies.
But also, that's another kind of nitpick I have. Patrick doesn't do much, but then by the end, he's a main character. Pick a lane.
Right.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where I forgive it in the sense that when he does come back on screen, he is very funny. So whatever.
He is very funny. I liked how they're stuffing him with potatoes.
Yeah, he and SpongeBob are actually get to show off their teamwork here, and. Yeah. We don't have Patrick trying to betray SpongeBob over a sandwich.
Right. Yep. This is yet another case of SpongeBob being a little smarter than you think, because potatoes are known for having electrolytes, so they could, in theory, power a small grid. Even Dexter's Laboratory did an episode about this.
That's right.
Yeah. One thing I was pleasantly surprised of was Evil Karen's 3 personalities never really turning on each other in a self-sabotage moment.
I thought that it was I thought that they were done very well. This is one of my favorite performances from Jill Taylor.
Same.
She really sells the anger and betrayal throughout, and she does a good job making all the Karens feel distinct. And I thought I thought it was really funny how Plankton's plan backfired. That because he just built another Karen, she feels the same as the rest of them. I totally bought that twist.
Right. Also, isn't it funny watching this movie knowing that SpongeBob and Karen are married in real life?
Yeah. Yeah. that is pretty hard. They've been married for over 25 years. As long as the show itself.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
And they I don't know. Have you guys ever seen Sky High?
Oh yeah, I have.
They make a cameo in that. When the school is falling on the house, they're the couple that they bought the new house. And
wow.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that is quite. That is an unexpected cameo to have in a theatrical film. Good on you guys.
Yeah, Tom Kenny and Jill Talley have been with each other, I think, before they even did voice acting. They even worked on a show called The Edge, which is a sketch comedy that also starred Jennifer Aniston and Wayne Knight.
Ooh. Well, see, you say that, but the sketch show I remember them for is Mr. Show with Bob and Dave.
Ooh.
Or Bob and David. Because a lot of people forget that Bob Odenkirk, Mr. Saul Goodman, he used to be a comedian. And Mr. Show is probably one of my favorite sketch comedies. They have so many awesome bits, and Jill Taylor and Tom Kenny were part of the cast.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it.
Oh, I think I've seen a little bit of Mr. Show. I saw some of that. But yeah, it's funny watching the movie through that lens, but also knowing that Plankton and Kieran are pretty enduring as a couple on their own right.
Yeah, I was very happy to see like the way it was expanded upon in a way that that felt true to the show, and also made these characters that we love like even more endearing. And to the point where like when the movie ended and like everybody was like kind of forgave them for everything because like they were so like, oh, I love and that kind of thing. I'm almost like concerned about what they can like where they can go from here, because it's kind of like how I felt about Eggman at the end of Sonic 3, because like they gave him so much character development to the point where would it really make sense to go back to the status quo at this point? Because I don't think it would. Because I feel like because the Plankton in this movie, by the end of it, I think he would be beyond like trying to go back to stealing the secret formula. That would be beneath him at this point.
This is basically a redemption arc for him.
So where do we go from here, though? That's my major concern.
Right. But this movie did something that few other movies in either series have. It made me excited for the future of SpongeBob.
Yeah, I really hope they lock in with the Flying Dutchman film, because I briefly talked about it with Sponge on the Run. I love the animation there. Sandy Cheeks movie, ugly as shit. When it comes to mainstream animated film, you've got Marmaduke, you've got the Addams Family, and you got the Sandy Cheeks movie right beneath them when it comes to the ugliest 3D CG films released into a wide audience. Like some of this stuff looks like straight up content farm content. It is that atrocious and like unappealing.
Right,
but
the Plankton movie improved upon it. I think it did something pretty unique with the thing, and I'm just a sucker for art shifts also. So seeing the flashback art shift made my day.
I like, you could tell it's obviously a lower budget like compared to Sponge on the Run, because it's straight to Netflix, but they make it work. It is very easy on the eyes, and at points like even the CG normal parts like can have like actually beautiful shots, like the Aurora Borealis surrounding the giant Karen mech looked really freaking cool. Like it kind of threw me off guard like how beautiful it was. God, I said Aurora Borealis, and we didn't even talk about the MLP holiday special like we said we would.
Yeah, but I think this has been going on.
Yeah, so I think we can like wrap it up pretty soon. The Plankton movie like looks good for what it is, especially when they do the animation switch ups. When the Flying Dutchman film, like that's scheduled to come out like in theaters in December, I have high expectations for that one. I hope they do something special.
Right, I don't know if you've ever seen the second Halloween special where they do it in stop motion. That was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm. And I'm very skeptical about Mark Hamill voicing the Flying Dutchman, but I'll give him a chance because I'm sure it'll be fine.
He sounds enough like Brian Doyle Murray, so.
Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like they're trying to go for a more sinister approach. That's why I was kind of like skeptical. Like on one hand, I'm like, why not just get Brian Doyle Murray? But on the other hand, it's Mark Hamill. He's also like a talented voice actor. I'm sure he'll do the role just as fine.
Yeah,
and like.
If they are going for like making the Flying Dutchman a threat and like that's why they recast him, I want them to commit. I want him to be scary. I want him to make people piss their pants. Like I hope they go like all in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, do you guys want to talk about the best dish ever? I mean, we said we were going to. Why not? I mean,
what?
Well, to be fair, we have been going for a while, and it's not really a movie. So I think, just to summarize, I think it's a very sweet special. I could see myself watching it once a year, and
yeah, it's fine. It's probably the best Christmas special MLP ever did.
I will say this though. Do you guys know that Spike has wings? Because this one does. This one forgets.
Yeah, the writers always. I always forget he has wings, and I see them on screen.
Like, there's a bit where, like, Twilight levitates Spike in front of a monster to, like, distract him. I'm like, what's wrong with just Spike distracting the monster himself?
It's funny. Oh, boy. Oh, well. So, how would you guys rank the SpongeBob films?
Well, first one's on the top, then the Plankton movie, then Out of Water, then Sandy, then Sponge on the Run.
Same as
Ditto.
yours, but flip the last two.
I am same as Nick.
Yeah, I'm the same with Wesley. It would pretty much go from greatest to least. It would be 1, 5, 2, 4, 3 for me.
Yeah, I find that interesting. Yeah, I think here's the thing. Sponge on the Run, I think, will make you angrier if you care more about like just like the humor and like it having a point and just like how necessary it is to the franchise. With the Sandy Cheeks movie, I think it comes down to how much you can tolerate the bullshit happening, essentially, and like how much just randomness you can handle, because they're both like pretty random. Let's face it. The Sandy Cheeks movie has like a bit more of a story if we're stretching. Like the Sponge on the Run is a lot more vignette-y with its weird just tangents it goes on, but with Sandy Cheeks it just doesn't have a theme. It just like, is very, it feels too pointless. I think it really just does. It's that kind of personal preference. I feel you can't go wrong, really. They're both equally shit for different reasons.
Yep, with Pony there's only 3, and it goes Rainbow Rocks on top, then EQG, then 2017 movie.
Yeah.
That makes me sad. That makes me really sad.
Yeah, pretty much.
I wanted to like that movie so much more than I did. I really wanted them to like give us, especially with the time it came out. It was like, because like, you know, 2D films in theaters have been dying off, especially 2D musicals. So like that was like going to be our only chance for a while, and it just didn't hit. And then Teen Titans Go had a movie the next year that was better, and it was done in Flash.
And Teen Titans Go took its thunder. That's saying something.
Yeah, it's a genuinely funny movie.
Yeah.
Oh well, it happened. Womp womp.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Next time we'll be discussing another movie that was a pleasant surprise.
Indeed.
Yeah. The day the Earth blew up.
Depending on when this comes out, see it while you can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Ketchup Entertainment is doing their best to keep it in theaters for as long as they are able to, and hopefully by the time we are start talking about it, Coyote versus Acme will have a solid release date if those negotiations go well.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, it was nice seeing you guys again.
All right, take care, everybody.
Take
was.
care, and don't forget to smile.
Bye.
Bye bye.